Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. Today's Thursday, August the 21st, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. I want to start on the daily because we are in a shift, right? Here's what the chart has been doing over time, holding moving averages very nicely. Comes in, kisses it. Then we have this savage break, moves it to value area low, but we are still congested. So notice this heavy congestion event comes all the way down to 6,230. My suspicion is that's where we're headed. Now, from a daily perspective, we can see that every single one of our candlesticks are bearish. We're coming into the first line of major support, the point of control, 6,400. We're dancing around that. Expect traders to try to punch price action up into the 6,420. I've put those levels for us to watch. But because of the institutional positioning that we all know about now, we can clearly see that what's going on is any potential bounces probably going to get sold. Here's the next thing to notice. We want to see if we can get into some sort of trending space. Right now, it's piano keys, right? One up, one down, one up, one retraces all, one down. It's just very, very noisy. So take that into consideration. I firmly expect us to test 63.60 today. Very, very likely. And then potentially the VWAP, which is 63.06. Now, that's really far away from where we are today. So we might kiss it and then move back up. We are seeing buyers. People are trying to buy the dip, particularly in the queues where we've got a lot more speculative retail traders in that space. So let's hop right to the 30-minute. See the formations. Here is the opening range candle, or 30-minute opening range. As usual, we break both sides of it, and then in the direction of trend, we look for continuation. So let's get our 3:30 Eastern Time candlestick drawn. Come on, Fred. We can see we are underneath that flow. This is our first 30-minute candlestick. Traders are going to try and buy this bounce, right? They're going to try and play the reflexive pattern with that stop at 63.60 on the first pass. Notice it's the wick from yesterday at 2 o'clock that is giving us the first line of defense, but I suspect bounces are going to be sell zones. So where's the ideal sell zone? Well, you know, for me, I'm such a cheapskate. It's going to be all the way up here. So do I want to wait for it? Do I have enough self-control to wait for it? Do I have enough things taking my time elsewhere that I might say, you know, how about I give 6,407 a go, right? In terms of my failure to head higher. This is what I'm thinking. What is trend? It is negative. What is momentum? It is negative. Bounces are going to sell. That's what happens. Upper edge of the range, if things go just crazy, 6,425. Bottom of the range, 63.60 to, I think that number is 63.20, but let's see if we can find it in the current contract. Looking bad, looking like I'm not going to be able to do it. Here we go. All right, here is the candlestick of note on a 30-minute formation. I'm just going to put that there, 63.40, not 63.20, and then 63.30. If we look at a 4-hour and we try to find the next significant line in the sand below this very big area, it's going to be this move in August. And that is, ooh, yeah, that is the number that the very deep price controls for support are looking to hold. They're looking to hold that edge right there. Oh, right into the VWAP. Isn't that interesting? All right, so below that, that's 63.48. We've got 6,300, and then, you know, but again, we would still be in a wide range, right? We've clearly broken trend. That's the important thing. And when you break trend on several time frames, you are going to see continuation of price that you're not used to seeing when you're doing your normal trading. All right, let's look at the daily here in the NQ. Having to the NQ, right, this one's well below its range. It is looking for accumulation, right? We mentioned 23,000 as that noisy patch, 23,090. You know, it's never an exact number. It's always zoinks. What did I do here? Let's lock this. Sorry. Lock. All right, so what we're staring down is certainly a mean reversion. Here's the 63. Here's the base of the range. So our deep support zone, not going to happen today, friends, or at least I hope it shouldn't happen today. That would be quite a savage move. 22,780 or so. Right now, notice, this is the point of control. And so traders are going to try and buy up in this region. They simply are. And that bounce is going to give us another sell zone. Doesn't mean that you can't buy it, but you want to be very conscious of trend. And in the NQ, it's breaking, right? So if we take a look at a 4-hour formation, we can see the next line in the sand. We hit it on the nose yesterday. Just came a couple of ticks inside of it. This is the big volume area from August the 1st. Immediate bounce. What do? We headed into this area here, and now we've built ourselves another box in here. And so what are the traders going to do? They're going to try to get out of the box and head up here. Notice, the 63 is up to flat, but well below. This could create a reflexive bounce up into the top edge at 23,700. If I were a betting man, I would say that would be a fantastic place to go short. Today, when I wrote, hey, listen, we could have a binary event, it means we could have either a massive move to the upside and then another fade, or a massive fade down and then a bounce. But we are going to have that two-edged sword because we're sitting in a very noisy patch of data. And so if we stare down this newest 4-hour candlestick formation, I'm really going to borrow this line for the top of that formation. So far, 23,314 gives us a potential breakout level into the top here. So that's going to be that line in the sand. Now we've got this area that they're going to take out their rocks and start throwing it at each other. That number's around 23,200. And then on the floorboards, we are looking at, 23,050, 23,000, somewhere around there. But to be sure, I suspect, because this is a point of control, traders are going to argue around here, and the buyers are going to try and build a floor, right? What are we looking at from a 30-minute perspective? Here's our 30-minute box, right? Still sitting inside of that high area. And then notice what the last 30-minute candlestick of yesterday looked like. This, not pretty. That is a bearish candle. It's a bearish candle, and notice in the overnight, nobody could get through it. So that's important. This is the ceiling of the day currently, 23,314. If we get in there, they're going to try to get up to 23,366. Below us, we've got a support ledge at 23,136, then 23,040, and then you'll have to go to the higher time frames to pick out the floors, but 22,780 looks like it for me. All right, let's go a little faster through the others. Here is the YM. This one's held pretty well, right? But it's already lost yesterday's 30-minute opening candle formation, right? And it lost it with, some pretty good gusto in the overnight. So this is what we're staring down. This big patch here, the next big volume candlestick we see really is right about where we're bouncing right now, right? We'll put a line right there. We don't need to draw a box. If we lose 44,800, again, the edges of this formation get quite a bit deeper. You can see the range. This is a big deal. They need to hold this level. See on the 4-hour how you can see support, resistance, 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 support, support, and then resistance. This is important. We lose this level, we are very likely to head to 44,529 and then 44,336. But all of the indices, each index that we watch, they're trying a bounce zone right now. And that's very, very important to realize. Intraday traders can get ahead of themselves and pile in way too early and then, only to watch it roll in front of them because they've lost all of their emotional strength to follow into the trade because they got caught on the wrong side. Okay? So that's what's going on with the YM. We've got those levels there. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Has Bitcoin rolled? Hang on. I keep forgetting. No, it's still in the Q contract. All right, staring down Bitcoin. It is trying to base, right? Staying 3 days in the same space, but let's go to the 4-hour chart and see what's going on with these guys. Remember, although people want to talk about Bitcoin as a store of value, it is still a speculative, instrument. And when liquidity begins to come out of the market, the first thing we're going to see is speculative instruments lose a bunch of their levels. And so if you are trading stocks or options somewhere and you're like, holy cow, pick some random meme thing, is falling off a cliff. Palantir, for instance, that's been a fantastic runner. That thing has it's in free fall right now, right? And so that's what happens when liquidity begins to move out of the market. The biggest runners with the highest level of speculation begin to fade. And that is what we are staring down at this juncture. All right. And so what is the next level for Bitcoin? We have 112,200 as relative support. It's probably closer to 112,000. What is trend? Sharply down on the tight moving average, sideways, right? But notice, what are they trying to do? They're trying to make a floor here, right? It's very important that you think about, what are the traders with money trying to shove people? Anybody with power is going to try and shove somebody around with not power, because that's what power does to people. Money flow works the same way. I'm getting involved and I am trying to coerce you to move in the direction I want to move. So the question is, how many big fists are in the ring punching at each other? All right. And so they're trying to create a floor here. Notice, friends, this is a megaphone. Up, down. I would not be surprised to see this thing lose 110,000. Now, is it going to lose it today? I have no clue. But I will tell you this, bounces, probably going to be sell zones. What would I like to see? I hate getting caught in these little things right here. And so I'm going to look for 116,700. That's going to give me my first line in the sand, or potentially even the VWAP at 117,631. And then I'm just going to let it ride. But if it comes all the way up in one candlestick, you can bet your bottom dollar Sally over here is going to be short, right? If I get one huge move to the upside relative to trend, I'm going to take the reversal and see if it can lose this purchase. Notice the example of that right here. Savage move down against relative trend into this moving average. It allows for a $2,000 move to the upside before it collapses. Okay, I'm looking for the same thing. Looking for the same thing. Not looking for it to run all the way down from all the way up here, but looking to take off that profit at about a $3,000 move. Okay, let's take a look at our buddy Earl, who rolled, right? That's oil if you're from the south or the bayou. It's oil. Oh, my word. Okay, so here we go. 4-hour chart. Last couple of days, big move here. Now, this thing's been vastly sold, right? And we know backwardation. The forward contract is cheaper than the current contract. That's rare that oil is in backwardation. But what it tells us is big bounces in the current flows. Going to look for resistance. Going to watch the fade. Look at the mess. What is trend? Down, big moving average, flat to messy, little moving average, momentum negative, but rising. What are they going to try and do? They're going to try and hold this floor. First place they're going to try and hold it is $62.60, right? Sellers are going to want to shove it all the way back down to $62.15. Buyers are going to want to try and hold it at that $62.60. What I do know is everybody down here at $61.60 says, yeah, I'm buying that. So I'm going to go where everybody is. That's the level I'm waiting for. Now, could you take a short from here to here? Potentially. It could get very messy, especially in a cross current. We're in the middle of the volume profile, so yes, you could do it, but I'd do a micro oil and, leave the room because it can get very, very wicky. All right, let's take a look at that 30-minute chart. Here's the 30-minute candlestick formation. Highest volume candle of the day. This usually happens round and about when oil closes, and that's around the 2 p.m. Eastern time zone. Right? Now, we notice range is pretty important here. We've got a high volume candlestick range event that overlaps. It's very interesting right there, right? It overlaps it, but they both hit the highs at the same place, right? That's the highest volume candlestick of the day prior to 2 o'clock. So this was the 10:30. Of course, this was the EIA report. It bounced and then faded, shook out all the early longs, and then just moved like a rocket to the upside. Oil does this. So you wait for the edges. Notice how many of these candlesticks retrace each other. That's oil for you. If you're looking for traders to come in and defend, it is going to be sort of around here, the 62.60, 62.70 zone. I'd be careful shorting there. You want to look for a failed retest for it to come down. They are definitely trying to buy that bounce zone. And you can see outsized movement. These candlesticks, these bars don't turn goldenrod unless there's outsized volume moving in the chart. And they have been buying pretty significantly. So that's very interesting to note. Upside pressure, $63.40. Support floor or resistance floor, 63.20, right? Charts are looking very messy, friends. Might have to break out the knitting needles again today. All right, let's take a look at gold. Very sideways. Mixed bag, certainly on the 30-minute. Let's zoom out. Also just terribly messy. Here is, that's a big candlestick formation from August the 14th. We had another one yesterday, wouldn't you know it? Right inside. So it enveloped this candlestick and moved all the way to the top. So this candlestick formation's here. This one's still relevant. And hang on, what I want to do, oh, for goodness sakes. Yeah, we need to pay attention to this edge. These edges right here are important. So we've got this zone, 33.94, and then the big volume candlestick at 33.68. Look at that bounce. I mean, right on it. So 33.68 buyers coming in, 33.94 all the way up to 3406. We got sellers. I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. Thank you very much. I will have a look at it if it gets all the way to 3,420 or all the way down here at 3,330. Ultimately, I'm thinking we get to 3,200 here, but it's hard to say. Flow looks really dastardly. I don't want to get involved right there. All right, let's take a look at SPY. SPY doing what it's doing. Look at this. Inside of the box, it hit the halfway range and closed above it. So let's do Fibonacci on this box. I have to find the candle. Let me go to the daily. That's what we're measuring. Oh, there's the Fibonacci. There's this halfway spot. Wow. Sellers are really, I mean, they are in it to win it today. Next line in the sand, 630. And then potentially 621, folks. That's what's looking like here. We've got quite a bit of bear sentiment. I got to figure out where I drew this box. Oh, there's the Fibonacci. Let's do it. We got this Fibonacci right here. We held the 50% zone, lost it, and then recovered it, but made a lower high, and now I suspect we go to the bottom of the box. $630 potential target today in the SPY. Do we have a major cross current? You betcha, folks. Upside pressure on the big moving average, downside pressure on the small moving average. Very steep momentum. Watch the floors to fail when momentum is steep, right? Momentum steep, floors are going to fail. All right, folks, that's it for me. Good luck trading. I'll see you on the streams. We know we've got our meetings today. I look forward to seeing you then.